Hello students, we'll go through the first module of computer programming and computational techniques. So in this module we'll be going through very basics of C++ language. Okay, so why we are learning C++ program? The answer is very simple. If we want to make a computer execute certain works, we have to make the computer understand what type of work we are giving to that machine. Okay, so we need an interface, that we need someone to actually translate to the machine language. So that is what this computer languages or programming languages are doing. See, we are learning different languages, isn't it? We are learning Malayalam or Hindi or whatever it is. So first we'll be learning the alphabets, and then we will be learning the each words, and we'll be learning its correct spelling and all. Okay, so just like that, for learning any subject, for learning any computer programming, we have to understand what are the rules of that programming language. Okay, so what these programming languages are doing is that they are properly translating what type of work we are giving, or what work we are giving to the computer to execute. So it is being translated to the computer language, or it is being translated to the machine language. So what a machine understands, it is 0 and 1, which means if fan is, it's a machine. Okay, so how the fan works, we will switch on the fan, so it will rotate, isn't it? It will rotate. So when we switch on, I am giving that as a number. I'm taking that as a number. This machine is taking that as a number, that is 1. And if I don't need a fan, so I will switch off the fan. So off is given 0, isn't it? So these are the two numbers which a machine understands. So in the computer programming, any computer language you take, it converts our instructions, what we are going, it provides us an interface between the user, or we as humans, and the machine. So this computer language helps to convert our instructions to the machine language. So if I write like something like the 0 1 0 0 1 1 like this, I don't know what does this mean. But if this machine understand what this is, isn't it? Machine understand what this is, but I don't know what does this mean. It shouldn't be it doesn't work like that, isn't it? The machine should execute what I wish to what my work is. So the machine should execute that. So for that, I need a language where I can meaningfully send the message, meaningfully convey the job, and also that language helps the machine to understand what we are actually going to intending to make that machine work. Okay, so the computer program language is simply a language which helps both user and machine understand what the job is, or the user will have a very friendly way to convey what the machine is, what that work is. We are making the machine understand what the work is. I hope that is clear. So for any language, we have some syntax, or we have some there is a grammar, isn't it? You have to properly go with the grammar if you want to write sentence in English, or in any language, you have to go with the grammar, isn't it? So just like that, the grammar, instead of the grammar term, we will use syntax in computer programming. Syntax is, it is the rules we have to follow, or we have to follow to, it's a law we have to follow when you write the computer program. And one of the best language where you can write a program, or even very commonly and widely used is the C++ program. It is an object-oriented, procedural and generic programming. How can you write a C++ program? So for that, you have to know what is the smallest unit in a program is. So if you understand what is the smallest unit, you can build build all the smallest unit together and finally arrive at a program. So just like a human body, the basic unit, or the very smallest unit is a cell. So cells join together, and these human body is made with a number of cells. So this is the smallest unit in a human body. So just like that, in programming language, smallest unit, it is known as tokens. Okay, smallest unit is known as tokens. So anyway, I will show you how what these tokens are. There are 5 types of tokens, and I will write one line. I will write a line of one program here, and I will make you understand what are these 5 types of tokens are. Okay, and here I am writing int a. Okay, so this is one line. This is one line of a C++ program. Okay, and there are 3 different things here. What are they? Int, isn't it? There's a thing known as int, and a, and a semicolon. Okay, these are 3 different types of tokens. There are total 5 types. Here in this one line, there are 3 types of tokens. So we'll see what are these. First one, int, it is known as, this is a keyword. There are so many types of keyword. One such keyword is int. Okay, and anyway, I will explain what keyword, again this keyword is. I have written as int, isn't it? It means that it conveys a message to the compiler, language compiler, as integer. Okay, int means integer. Okay, int means integer. So it is conveying this int token, int keyword is conveying that whatever comes after int is an integer type. Okay, and the second one, I have taken a small letter a. Okay, this is known as an identifier. Okay, identifier, it is known as it is a variable, which means that I can give any name after int. Maybe it can be int b, okay, or and, or a underscore nt, like that also I can give, which means that you can use a sequence of letters or a letter as an identifier. Okay, and it means that this particular statement, it means that b is a variable or an identifier with the quality of an integer, which means that we can save any data of integer type in this particular, in these variables. It means like this. Okay, like that. And The third one is a semicolon. Semicolon, it is known as a punctuators. Punctuators. Okay. The punctuators can be a colon, a semicolon, a comma, or brackets, braces and all. Okay, so these are known as punctuators. And keywords, one example is int, another one is float. Float means you can save decimal numbers also in this particular variable. So in the integer, this a is an integer type variable, which means that a can save only integer values. If I write a as 5.4, it only saves this 5. Okay, so why? Because a has only the ability of an ability to store an integer value. Okay, if I want to feed this 5.4 total into a, I have to declare a, that the variable a as float a equal to 5.4. If I write like this, this whole 5.4 will be saved inside a. Okay, suppose I have declared like this, a is equal to 6.4 means equal to 6.4. If I declare like this, only the value of 6 will be taken to a. Why? Because we have declared a as what type? Integer type. Integer type. Okay, I think that concept is clear to you. So integer, this float or char, etc., will come through different types of keywords. At that time I will explain to you why we are using that keyword and all. These are a few examples of a keyword. And identifier is nothing but it's a it can be a letter or a sequence of letter or a combination of letter and numbers. Okay, so combination of letter and numbers means I can declare like this: int b1 comma b2 comma like this b3, likewise semicolon. Like this I can declare. Okay, I think it is clear. So I have used a combination of a letter and a number. Okay, so there is one rule for declaring a identifier, that it should start with a letter. You can't start with one b like that. It is it will show a syntax error. Okay, you can't declare a variable like that like this. It should start with a letter, that is b1 comma b2. You can declare like this. Okay, and a very important thing while writing a program is every statement, every line should end with a semicolon. So float, see, this is one line. I have already told you this is one line of a program. So float b1 is equal to, I have written as maybe 5.75. Okay, semicolon. So every statement you write, any line in a C++ program, it should start with a, it should end with a semicolon. It is very important. Okay, if you forget the semicolon, again the compiler will show you the syntax error. Why? Because whenever a line is executed, the computer understands when you see the semicolon, when that compiler see the semicolon, it understands that it is the end of that particular line. So it will start executing the next line. So this presence of or ending with the semicolon, it is very important. Every line should end with a, whenever you end that particular line, you should end with a semicolon. I hope that concept is clear to you. So we have gone through the first three types of tokens, and the next two types I will again take one line from a program, and again let it be int a is equal to 5. Okay, so this is one line from a program, and here you know that this is a punctuator, and this we don't know what this is, and this one it is an punctuator, and this one is a identifier, and this one is a keyword. So here in this example you don't know what this is, so you can call this as a literal or a constant. Okay, and the last one is an operator. See here there is an equal to sign here, it is known as a operator. Okay, so there are different types of operator. We will come through the various types of operators in the coming program. So equal to is one such operator, and it is known as an assignment operator. So you are, which means that you are assigning the value of 5 to a. So it is an assignment operator. Generally you can group equal sign inside an operator, and you take another line, int c equal to a plus b. Okay, so this is one random line I have taken from a program. Okay, so in this you know that this is a keyword c, a, b. These three are variables or identifiers. Then this equal to sign, it is an operator, and again this plus sign, it is an operator. So this is an arithmetic operator. It is an arithmetic operator. Okay, so this is an assignment operator, this is an arithmetic operator. There are various types of operators also. Just like I said before, we will go through. So in the coming sessions we will see what are different operators are. So these are the basic units, very smallest units in a C++ program. So first one, it is a keyword. Second one, it is an identifier. Then third one, literal or constants, punctuators, and operators. So these are the 5 types of tokens. Okay, now we know what are the different types of tokens are. Now we will see how the program is executed in the C++ platform. So for that, first you have to write the program. Okay, you are writing the program. Okay, in the programming platform you are writing the program, and you will be given, after writing the program, you are given an option to compile. Compile means you are checking whether there is any errors in the program. Okay, so you are checking where there are any errors. If there are any syntax error in the program, it will show you errors, and the line number where the errors are there, and so you can go through each and every line where to the particular line number, and you can correct the error there, and finally again you can compile, and after getting a success message after compiling, you can run the program. So there is an option known as run, and you can run the program. So after running the program, you will be taken to the output screen. Okay, you will be taken to an output screen where the result of your program is shown. Okay, suppose my aim of the program is to print a name. I have written the program, compiled it, and run the program. It is taken to an output screen where a name is printed. Okay, so suppose the name is mouse. Okay, so I have printed mouse in the output screen. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, one example here to write a program to print a name. Okay, so I am writing in the programming platform. I am writing the program, and I think directly I will write the program and I'll explain to you what all things why I have given this and all. I will explain to you. I think it is better to than to take theory first and then going to program and all. It will be little bit confusing. I think it is better to straight away go to the program itself. So the aim of this program is to print a name. Okay, suppose the output I need, or the name I need is suppose it is Mickey. It is Mickey. So I need the I know what my output is, isn't it? I know what the output should be. Okay, so in the output screen, it should write. It should be seen like Mickey. Okay, so I should write a program where the output I should get should be Mickey. So first I will write hash include iostream dot h. Okay, see what is the first line. First statement is hash include iostream.h. It means in the C++ programming platform, there are so many files which help you to write the program. This particular line means that you can include all the files inside this particular header file. Okay, there are so many. It is just like a library. Okay, it contains so many commands and all which help you to write a program. Okay, so I can use whatever commands and all are previously which this platform understands. It is there inside the header file, inside this particular header file. So I can use that commands and all inside my program. So for that, if I want to use the commands inside the iostream header file, I have to write like this, that is hash include. Inside the angular brackets, you have to write iostream.h. Next, I have to write void main, opening the braces. So first thing is I have included all the files inside the iostream.h iostream header file, and I can use whatever commands which is already there in the iostream. I can use that in my program. And to write the program body, it is inside the main function. So after including all the header files, I have included only one header file. After including whatever header files you need, you have to start with the program and you have to write the program inside a main function. So the main function I am declaring as void main. So I will explain the meaning of void and all in the coming modules. So now you just remember that whatever programming body, it should be inside, whatever you are writing, it should be inside the main function. The program should be inside the main function. And so I am writing as I have to display this name Mickey, this name in the output screen. So I can directly write cout. Okay, so cout is a command which is already inside the header file iostream. So this command can be used in my program. Cout means whatever comes after, it is to be given to the output screen. It means that, okay, it is asking the compiler to display whatever things I am writing after that to the output screen. Okay, so after writing the cout, you have to write this operator. Okay, cout this operator, and which name is needed? Mickey. So I am writing Mickey, and it should be inside the double quotes. So you remember one thing, whatever things which is written inside the double quotes, it will be taken as such to the output screen after the cout. Okay, it will be directly taken. It will be taken as such to the output screen, and this is my end of my program. So whenever I end a statement, whenever I end the line, I have to close it with a semicolon. Okay, and now I can close the main program. Okay, closing the braces. So this is the program to print a name. So when I compile it, it will show the success sign, and I can run the program. It will be taken to the output screen where this Mickey will be displayed. Okay, you can see this Mickey. You can see the Mickey name in the output screen. I think this program is clear to you. Again, one thing I have to tell you is that when you open the main function, you have to write the whatever commands is there. You have to write the these things inside these braces. So don't forget to write these braces, which means that whatever comes inside this opening and closing braces is the part of the main function. That is the meaning. Okay, so don't forget to put these opening and closing braces. Also to write the to end the line with the semicolon, and also to write this operator after cout. Okay, I think this program is clear to you.